Welcome to the DC Wealth Builder channel. I'm Kymber Lovett-Menkiti, and we bring you every week real examples of building wealth right here in the DMV. Real stories, real examples, real deals. So make sure you like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all of the wealth building conversations happening right here in the nation's capital. Welcome back to DC Wealth Builders, where we break down the strategies, systems, and tools to help you build wealth. And I'm excited today because we are kicking off our Wealth Builder interview series, and I could not think of a better person to join us as our first deep dive other than Marlena McWilliams, who leads Moscati & Co., which really is a multifaceted real estate services company that we're going to dive into. But before we do that, I mean, you left a very successful career right in the defense world and jumped in. When was that moment that you knew real estate was a big opportunity for you?
I think there were a couple moments.
There were a few.
One was just realizing that you're actually directly helping people. In the government, in the position I was in that I fortunately grew into in a leadership role, I realized quickly we were making decisions that were affecting everyday Americans' lives, but that at the same time, I couldn't touch that person. I didn't know what was happening. Mm-hmm. Well, with real estate, you still get to touch those people. You know directly how it's helping their family or affecting them. Mm-hmm. So that was a moment when I helped a lady who was 40. She never thought she could buy a home. She had raised all her kids in like a townhouse that she had rented. And then finally she wanted something for herself. Mm-hmm. And so that touchy moment made me realize it. Then having my own son and thinking about wealth and what I wanted to pass on to him was definitely another moment when I realized that was the true way to wealth in the United States. So.
Absolutely. Well, and you got a strong finance background. You actually came into the agent side of real estate through the investor side.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about that, because you kind of got your first lessons in real estate as an investor before you really started on that wealth building journey to guide other people through that process.
Yes. And I just want to be honest, the lessons never stop.
The lessons never stop. That is very true. That is the first lesson. You are going to keep failing forward.
Yes. But yeah, so my first deal, I had money. I learned option trading, from a friend when we were sitting in a skiff. So skiff is a place where you don't have your clearance yet, so you're bored.
Yeah.
So
like hanging out.
So we're finance majors. He knew about option trading, gave me a great book, Option Trader Handbook. It's still out there, still one of the popular books. We were in there option trading. Had a bunch of cash, but was young and did not know what to do with it, even though we majored in finance. And like we knew, but we didn't know, you know? Mm-hmm. And so met some investors, always had the real estate bug in me. Kind of trusted the wrong people, and I call it being a lazy investor. Mm-hmm. All of us have done it at times. And they bought these houses. I was smart enough to get my name on one of the deeds to protect the asset with my investment, and ended up taking that property over. I call it my Harvard education. It was a 6-figure lesson. But it made me a better investor, right? So now I have contracts, I have things that I put in place, even if I'm lending money or investing in other people's projects, or if they're working with me as well. So I think that's very, very key, is do the due diligence up front, definitely get the contracts. There's always going to be a deal, so just take your time.
Yeah, I think that's an important lesson, right? That sometimes when we're jumping in and we think we know, we're often going to pay. Like those first deals, like you are going to learn. And you're really going to learn when you build your team. Because really today, you now sit on the other side, both as an investor, but really as an agent representing investors, yourself, but also helping people who think that they might want to invest in real estate.
Correct.
And so that was that transition, right? So learning it, then you decide, okay, I'm going to get my real estate license and then start building this incredible team that's now helping people all over DC, Maryland, and Virginia jump into that, whether first-time home buyers or investors who are building massive portfolios.
Yep, and we try to tell every client that, you know, even if they're only thinking about this first home, that they do want to invest. We try to create a little mini wealth plan for them, and we offer them services like a financial advisor if they don't have one, just to collectively try to help them. And because a lot of people, especially first-time homebuyers in certain cultures, they're not thinking about those things, and they should be. And just setting things up properly so that they're set up for success in the future. And definitely that hard lesson made me a better I would say real estate agent and better investor for everybody, and to guide my team as well as our clients and customers. We try to do our best and advise, but of course it's always customer gets to choose.
Yep, makes the decision. We gotta live with the decision.
Yep, but we advise the best we can. So
let's shift into like the current DC market. Like, what are you seeing? What are you advising clients on right now? Like, it's a interesting time, and people are saying like, hey, in some parts of the market, there's still a lot of activity. There's still multiple offers. You can't necessarily get in if you're trying to invest. What are you seeing, and are there places that you are really focusing on from an investment strategy?
Yeah, so you are exactly correct. The DC market, especially like we've had a lot of clients recently in Montgomery County, it's booming right now. They're still getting multiple offers on properties. It's harder to get investor. I had a 1031 exchange investor, which we lost out, and that's cash. But they got higher price.
Yep.
And that's what mattered to them. They were willing to wait the 30 days instead of closing in 2 weeks. And then you get to the condo market in DC, it's saturated. So we're having places sit with condos, but not saturated everywhere, right? In certain quadrants, I had a condo go in 0 days in Columbia Heights, where in Trinidad or Northeast, they're sitting a lot longer. And then when you get to Virginia, it's kind of always a little bit hot topic and booming in most areas. So I'm advising people, especially if you're an investor, the rule of thumb is always submit on 10, you might win one, right? And because there's always going to be a deal, so let's not be mad. Let's make sure our numbers make sense. And then if our numbers make sense, then we go forward with that deal. If they don't, we just keep going until we find the right one. And then for regular buyers, it is the time to buy. We are below still the 40-year average. And this is when real money moves, because prices have come down and kind of flatline. So this is opportunity to get a outstanding place, probably for a decent price, and still have a great rate that hopefully in the future, if rates come down, you can always refinance, right? So I'm encouraging people to get out and buy. This is when you want to. It's sort of more of a little bit of equilibrium. It's not a seller's market, it's not a buyer's market, depending on where you are, but it's definitely advantageous if you have the right things in place to take advantage of the real estate market. So I think it's a great market, and I think a lot of people are doing great in it, especially in luxury. Those houses are selling like hotcakes a little bit, so. Because people with money are knowing this is the time to move money.
Money can move. That's exactly right. Especially if you're like the market. There's never been a 10-year period in history where really real estate didn't appreciate. So if you're willing to buy it and hold it, even in that condo market, if you've got some condos that they're waiting to come to market. So it's a game, right, of being able to understand what you need from like an equity standpoint versus a cash flow standpoint as an investor, and then really it's the time horizon that's allowing that wealth to be built over time.
Agreed. And also sometimes, like, I had a bunch of condos. It was 4-unit units, and I helped them get 8 of them. We sold off 4 of them in condos. They were high priced during the high times. But then the last 3, I was, their advisor, and I advised them to turn them into 4 units. And so we ended up selling the last 4 billions as 4 units instead of converting them into the condos, because the market was saturated. So you want to get with a good realtor that's paying attention to the market and also having a backup plan to your initial plan. My mom always said you got to have plan through A through Z. So
that's right. And in this market, you might make your way through the alphabet, because that's just the market. That's what's happening.
Yes.
Well, I think that 4 unit's an interesting one, because sometimes people look at a 4 unit as a good entry point, right? It's a place to get started. So from this perspective, an investor acquires that thinking it's going to be condos, has a plan B, C, right? That says, hey, actually maybe bringing this back on as a 4 unit and selling it that way. So depending on what you're looking for, a 4 unit could be a good place to start, especially if you could occupy one of the units and rent out the other 3, or just because you've got multiple streams that are coming in, right? You're not stuck on one tenant if something happens, you've got multiple places. So I love that like you were able to advise them on that pivot, and then being able to really continue to have that be an active investment for now somebody else who's jumping into the market.
Yeah, because you got to watch the market. And if you're watching the market, somebody, you see 4 units selling in a certain area, and then you could kind of see that they're owner occupants, what they bought with, a program, they're typically probably going to be owner occupants. So that's when we made that advisement to them. And like you said, 4 units are a great investment. I wish I would have started out that way, because when I didn't have any money and I didn't care, I would have started that one little unit that had been happy for a little while.
That's right.
And then and have the other 3 covering 75% to 80% of your rent is amazing. And then move out, rent that one, and now you have a cash flowing property, right?
That's right.
So yeah, and there's a lot of them on the market though. I've been seeing lately. It's like everybody's like, oh, sell my 4-unit, because I saw that trend, and that's why we got in early last year. And now you're seeing a bunch come on the market.
You are, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we haven't always seen. So I
Right.
think that's a good place. If you've got an investor and you're looking
Yep.
to jump in, that's a good place to understand the market, have a good team that you're building, but also like that's a good place to get started if you're trying to build in the market.
Yeah, and I also think it's something that we've talked about before, that a lot of the baby boomers are getting rid of their investments. So that's also why we're seeing that truffle of multi-units, because they're ready to retire and just let somebody else take on the charge of
And
the
their
asset.
kids don't want it, right? They don't want to, they live outside of the area, or they
Yep.
just don't want the hassle of like a
Yep.
4-unit that mom and dad have owned for 20, 30 years.
Nope.
So we are seeing these come on the market and can be really, really good stabilized assets.
Agreed.
Like walk us through, like one of yours, you got your, so you are both representing other people and you're still doing your deals. So walk us through like one of your recent projects, what you're looking at, what you'd be looking for, and just time horizon. Like I know sometimes that's a big challenge. We think about, especially investing in the city, and looking at how long it takes to get permits and to like complete a renovation and bring back to market. Like what is your ideal buy box, if you will, today? What are you looking for? And how do you evaluate a property?
I'm looking for quick value add today.
Quick value add. Okay, so define that for us. So that's somebody that doesn't know what that maybe means.
So something that I could get into very quickly and turn around in probably about 2 to 4 month time frame. More cosmetic. I'm not looking to do a full gut at this point, just because of some of the instability in the market. I want to be very conservative on cash and also my costs going in.
Yep.
In the past, the most recent deal I'm doing is a big, larger project. I ran into a lot of problems with that. I look at projects totally different. I learned something. The learning never stops.
And then never stops.
I learned about heritage trees more than I wanted to ever know from arborists about heritage trees. And I love trees, but I just feel like there needs to be some give and take in the city on that. And something I'm hoping to look forward to help pull that charge in the future. Because, you know, if you've already passed me through the permitting process and then you come back and tell me I have to change something for a tree that was dying anyway, we have to find some balance in that.
I think you're hitting on something important that I want to pause on, which is the legislative understanding, like what you're going to deal with in the different jurisdictions,
Yes.
DC, Maryland, Virginia, and even in the counties within those,
Yes.
because everybody's rules are different, right? So in DC, you have DOP, the Department of Buildings, and
Yes.
so everyone is different from your permitting process. So what you're flagging is, hey, in the district, there's a specific process that looks at properties a certain way, and so you have to account for that. So
Yes.
2 to 4 months might take you outside of the district
Right.
if you're looking at a project, because we've got older properties here, older inventory, longer times to be able to get in and out of a project. So that might take you out of the city to look at.
And that's where I'm
at.
at. Ding, ding, ding. Kymber
Yeah,
has
like
it.
there we go. Yes, yes.
I'm going to Maryland and Virginia now. But in the city, you're exactly right. And it's just the permits take longer. They do have the expediter system, but it still takes a while with just getting all the comments just because of the process. And then in addition to all the different departments like DOEE, DOB, and then you got DC Water, you got to go through Washington Gas, and then coordinating all that with all of your trades and your contractor, it is like running an orchestra.
That's right.
And it takes a long time to get it kind of fine-tuned with the right people. And then going outside, like you said, is where I'm kind of going now. Those are those, oh, they need cosmetic work. I may change a room or a bathroom or something like that, but it's not a gut down, take it down to the studs and do a whole MEP plan. That takes a lot longer. And I always tell people, whatever you estimate, account for 4 more months past that. And the
I'm
reason
always like,
why,
double it.
yeah, because the 2 months is, you know, you might run into something, an issue, and then another 2 months to sell it. So you need to account for that cash and that time in your budget. And in my recent project that I got stuck in, luckily I got it at a low price, but that's how I've been able to survive. Now I am getting to the point that I have to make a move, but I was able to survive as long as I did because I had such a wide range of ROI that I could have returned, which now I'm not going to get, but I'm still going to get my money back.
That's right. That's right. So I think understanding going in is where the opportunity is in terms of like identifying a deal, not being overly optimistic.
Correct.
Anytime you're trying to say like, I've got to finish it in this much time and I have to deliver it at the highest point possible in the market, it's usually a deal that's not worth doing, right?
Correct.
To be able to dive into. I mean, like that's our reality.
No, I know you know this.
As I say, we know this from experience. So there's so many agents, right, who transact real estate and they help other people do it and they don't get on the journey themselves. And you really started in the journey as an investor and then got in helping other people. But how do you, like, what's a piece of advice you'd have? Somebody who is in the real estate world, they're actually doing this, they're transacting every day, but they actually don't own their first investment property. Like, where do you think, where's your advice to them to get started so that they can be participating in all this like wealth that's being generated?
Yeah, I say always start now. Just go ahead and get your feet wet, especially if you have some cash reserves built up. I don't want you to put yourself in a financial strain. Look for crowdsourcing because you probably have friends and people who have money that would be willing to trust you and invest with you. And then that way you're using other people's money and you still can make a profit. Your profit margin is smaller, but it gives you opportunity. And yes, people do that for buy and holds too. People only think of crowdsourcing when it comes to flips, but that's not true. People will definitely define partnerships or a dividend partnership with a cash out with a term for a buy and hold. You give them 1% now, 1% on the end or something like that, and then you still maintain the asset when you refinance them out. There's a lot of creative ways to create a deal, so don't be shy. Also partner with fellow realtors. I've been doing that a lot more this year, and it's actually been really great. So even though we may be competing sometimes in the realtor, we can still work together to establish properties or cohorts, if you will, within the real estate realm.
Absolutely.
So I think those will be my 3 tips. Start now, especially if you have some reserves. Look at crowdsourcing. You don't have to do it alone, and that could be crowdsourcing in your own sphere or with other fellow realtors. And then just remember that you're going to be submitting on a bunch before you find the right one. Or if you found that property from you going on your own listing, be honest and tell them you'd be willing to buy it. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to just not have no hassle.
That's right. I think that's a really big one as agents are out looking at properties and talking to prospective sellers. A lot of people do want that easy button. They do want to understand like what that option is. And I think being transparent about your ability to bring them an offer that you might be interested as a buyer is an important just open the door that it doesn't, you have a full market option for them, but you also have an easy button option if that's what they choose. And more and more we're seeing people that just want that ease. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to have to move my stuff. I don't want people coming through my house. And that creates that optionality for them.
It definitely does. And more often than not, the baby boomers want that for sure.
Absolutely. And certainly their kids, right? Like that
They're like, I'm done going to Florida.
That's right. And here's the keys. And you figure it out. I love that. I mean, you're building also a team, right? So in addition to the work you're doing as an agent, as an investor, you're really leading a broader enterprise. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can connect with you as they want to, maybe they hear what you're saying, it sounds amazing, but the partnership and opportunity to really do it and learn from somebody that is doing it at a really high level. Yeah,
so we're getting, our dream is getting bigger and bigger. The Anco family, that's what we're calling it now, because everything has an Ann and Company in it. And so Moscati and Company is, of course, the biggest and largest. That's our real estate sale team. We believe in faith. So we're fun, awesome, intuitive, tenacious, and honest people. So that's our word for our team.
That. Yeah.
And we just try to bring that out in our clients and in our client base. That sales team, we're just building elite agents if you're looking to learn, as well as have other spheres of network where you can place clients for property management or maybe renovation and repair. We're a great one-stop shop that's trying to build that whole realm around the real estate and the power of home. And so then we have Pros & Co, which is our property management, smaller, but we're growing. And that's property management. We started it because I'm an honest realtor. I try to be, and I couldn't tell my clients that bought in COVID that they really should sell their house. Some of them were really about at the top of the market. They didn't want to be landlords. So we added it on and it's starting to grow and we've learned a lot. And we're starting to turn that thing around and really make it profitable. And then the next thing is renovation repair, right? Your clients always need somebody. And it's always good to have a referral. You want to be the person that says, I know a guy, but it's also great to keep it in-house sometimes too. And then we know we can protect it in the name and the client. So that's how we're kind of building out our streams. And it allows my agents to, like, they need a quote for an investor. Like Miles, he just needed a quote the other day. I sent my contractor over there. He went and gave him a full itemized, initial quote for a flip this guy's looking to do. It gives the agents flexibility to be able to have somebody to call immediately to be able to get something done or a deal across. So that's how we're kind of envisioning it. So Moscati & Co, Pros & Co, and Origin & Co. And so we're looking to be a force within this realm. We're already a pretty big force, but even bigger. So.
But even bigger. But I think that what you're doing is your brain works as you think about like systems models, right? You've got both that finance background, and so you're building all of those pieces inside. A lot of agents don't necessarily want to build it, but they partner. And so whether that's partnering in the sales side, whether that's partnering in the renovation side or the property management side, part of what we're saying is I got somebody for you. That doesn't always have to mean that you have to build every single vertical. Like your next step might be, hey, I'm a good agent and I want to buy my first investment property. Knowing that these are the relationships that you have across the DMV really just allow you to add that much more value to your clients that you're able to serve. Agreed.
And we've partnered with different people to build that property management. I should have mentioned that, as well as the renovation repair, and we're still doing that. So I think, collaboratively you grow faster, right, and stronger. So I definitely encourage that, and I don't want you to think we built it. Yes, I'm the systems part, I'm the big dreams person, but I do go out and try to make those relationships and partnerships across the board because I know I'm only one person. So, and I don't want to be the smartest person always in the room. I want to have other smart partners and people around me so that we can reach the reach that we actually want to attain. So yeah, I love that what you said, and I totally 100% agree. And I hope all agents are doing that because I've heard you say it a lot of times. It's one of the things that inspired me is we want agents to retire millionaires too. Yes. And oftentimes we're not. And so we have to start thinking about other business layers and investing ourselves so that we can. Absolutely. Well, because how can you be a good steward to other people on this wealth building journey if you're not on it yourself, right? So like, how do we make sure, I think it's one of the things we've been excited about in the Catalyst world of like, how do we actually help build businesses, right? Have a strong real estate business, but in service to building your wealth so that you have the choice to, whether that's that you want to sell forever or that you want to have passive income through real estate that's allowing you to make those decisions. Like we've got to be in it. And I think one of the things that you said that's so important is the velocity. Like this idea of I got to review 10 to get to one. Right. Or not even review, I've got to put 10 offers out there. And I might have had to review 30 to get to the one I wanted to put an offer in. Yep. And if you have to make 10 of those to get to one, like that means you might have to review 300 properties to get to the one. And I think sometimes people think, I reviewed 3 and I didn't get any, so I'm just going to get on the sideline. But it is like get in the game, like understand the neighborhoods, understand the markets, get your financing together, know what you want to buy, and then be able to dive in. Yeah, it is. And that's why I tell people are like, I want to work with investors. Do you? Do you? They take a lot of time and they take exactly what you just said. And so it takes a lot of analysis or allowing them to do their analysis. That's right. Going back for contractor reviews, getting appraisals, working on their funding, running their numbers, probably seeing the property 3-4 times in order so that they can make sure they're secure. And you want to do that for your clients, but it just takes a lot of more time. Once you get a seasoned investor, right, they kind of know what they're doing and they get out there unless they're trying a different property type. Like I have an investor now, he's trying a different property type. He's mostly done single families. He wants to get into multi-units. So we're hitting some bumps in the roads because he doesn't understand multi-units. So you have to be prepared to have those conversations and be able to guide them along the way. And then, like you said, have patience. And it's okay to have a specialty, like, right? If you say, hey, I want to like build this out, but I'm going to build it around single family homes or buy and holds or multi-units or commercial, like pick what, you don't have to be the expert in all of them, that you can go into one vertical. And that way you're really building capacity, understanding relationships with financing and lending around that piece. And then that lets you attract people who are also building in that space. Correct. Yeah. And don't be silent. Get out there and tell people that's one thing I'm working on. Yeah. Yes, which is why we're doing this. Exactly right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So last one is sort of what's that one thing? Like somebody's ready to get going. They want to get into the journey. What's that piece of advice that you would have given to Marlena a decade ago as you were getting started? What's that piece for our wealth builders who are ready to jump in the game? Yeah, great question. I would say don't jump at every shiny object. I think that was the biggest mistake I made early on that I admit, have no problem telling that story, save somebody else. But don't jump at every shiny object and don't feel like you're missing out on a deal. Like you mentioned earlier, you're not. There's always going to be another deal. There's always going to be turnover in real estate. It is what America is truly built on. And so just always remember that we have one of the greatest things in the world. You can actually own the land, have a 30-year mortgage. That's very much a Western cultural thing. Yes. And also I would just say now that the world is opening up to, don't be afraid to think outside the box and go other places. I've been doing that recently and it's been working out pretty well. Yes, literally outside of the U.S. Yes. Real estate as a vehicle is not just a vehicle for wealth building in the United States, it's all around the world. And so when you start here and you can start to build beyond. And once you make those relationships, somebody moves to Ghana or wherever, and now you have somebody that can advise you over there. So Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you. It's our very first deep dive into the wealth building, and I'm excited to see you continue to build wealth and, more importantly, like support all the people that you're taking along on that journey with you.
Yes, I'm glad to be partnering with you as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Marlena.
All right, thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure that you like and hit subscribe so that you stay up to date on all of our video series. And if you're ready for that wealth building next video for you, check it out right here. And I look forward to seeing you on our next wealth building series as we continue to build wealth through real estate.